Klitschko is very upset that they've stopped the fight, yelling no, no, no. He didn't want the fight stopped. Who stopped the fight?
Who would have thought that the esteemed gentleman of boxing, Vitali Klitschko, could find himself in such an agitated state? What truly happened, and why did the face of the Ukrainian champion turn into a bloody mess? And what prompted him to be ready to get into a fight outside the ring? To unravel all these mysteries, let's instantly transport ourselves to the early 2000s, specifically to June 21, 2003, when one of the most epic battles in the heavyweight division took place.
He entered to the strains of the Eagles Hotel, California.
Lennox Lewis is a legendary boxer of the 90s and early 2000s. He belongs to that rare list of boxers who became undisputed champions in their weight class. He defeated such boxers as Mike Tyson, Evander Holyfield, and many other great champions, so this is a real boxing legend. However, by the time of his bout with Vitali Klitschko, the British boxer was on the verge of ending his career. He was nearly 40 years old, and his previous fight had taken place over a year ago, where he knocked out Mike Tyson.
Lennox Lewis knocks out Mike Tyson!
So dominant that the thoroughly beaten Mike Tyson declined a preordained rematch.
Afterwards, he was obligated to defend his IBF title against the American Chris Bird. But the Briton refused, and as a result was deprived of this title. Be that as it may, the most prestigious from the belts according to the WBC was still in his hands.
Schon gewaltig, was der Junge wegstecken kann. Aber jetzt tötet
Right now! Big right hand lands again. Johnson having trouble fighting.
As for Klitschko, the 31-year-old boxer at the time could boast the title of a former world champion, which he lost on April 1, 2000, due to an injury sustained in a fight against the very same Chris Bird.
Lancing right hand. And targets. And now there's the left hand. And it's the right hand that does the big damage most of the time anyway. Wait a minute, just see.
After that, he secured 5 consecutive victories and once again became the official contender for the title. However, he didn't yet possess the status of a truly elite fighter, as it was a time when the names of Lewis, Tyson, Holyfield, and other representatives of the fading generation were still making waves. The heavyweight division was considered the territory of Americans and Britons, so it was far from easy for Eastern European fighters to break into that realm. However, Vitali proved to be no ordinary contender, as he managed to earn his chance. November 23, 2002, Vitali Klitschko defeated Larry Donald and became the official contender for the WBC world title. After that, the team of the Ukrainian and the British began negotiations on the duel, but immediately the parties began to have some disagreements. Then Lennox began to consider the option of a rematch with Mike Tyson, but the WBC made it clear that in this case, the winner would still be obliged to meet with Klitschko Sr. As a result, Tyson refused to refight with Lewis, and the Briton agreed to fight with Kirk Johnson. The fight was scheduled for June 21st. But on June 6th, it became known that the Canadian was injured and would not be able to compete. However, tickets for the boxing evening at the legendary Staples Center were already sold out, and the organizers did not want to give up their income. They immediately started looking for a replacement and turned to the Ukrainian.
Do you think it will be to your advantage that he has only 2 weeks to prepare to fight you?
Yes,
Because?
because all opponents underestimate me. Because my style look not so impressive. It's very effective.
Klitschko, in turn, immediately gave his consent to the fight and on June 9th went to the duel on a short notice.
Well, I've always said one for breakfast, one for lunch. Somebody took my breakfast, so he's my lunch.
On the eve of this fight, Lennox Lewis was considered the favorite of the meeting. Not only did he have colossal experience and a more advanced technical arsenal on his side, the training camp also played a role.
What about his skill level?
You know, I'm a five-dimensional fighter. I don't consider him a five-dimensional fighter. There's certain things that I can do and he can't do, and I believe my skill levels are a lot more than his.
If Lennox purposefully prepared for June 21st, then Klitschko didn't even have 2 weeks to complete the preparation.
How do you imagine it'll feel to be looking up at an opponent? You're a big guy. He's bigger.
Yeah, but when he's on the canvas, he'll be looking up at me, and he'll realize how big I am.
And besides, you need to understand that Vitali had never fought with an opponent of such a level before, and in fact, at that time, it was the biggest challenge in his career. And he received it very honorably.
It's very important for me to make the fight against Lennox Lewis and beat him, because I will be fight not for me. As Lennox Lewis don't know, he fight against two brothers Klitschko.
He entered to the strains of the Eagles Hotel, California. So will it be heaven or will it be hell tonight? That's not his stuff.
From the very first round, it immediately became clear that the Briton was losing to his opponent in speed, and Lewis tried to take the opponent due to his pressure. So he immediately went ahead.
Let's go with a right when throwing more than 30 jabs per round. He's not going to reach 30 jabs.
Start squatting after a while. A guy's hand are that high.
But this tactic did not work, and in the middle of the segment, Klitschko increasingly began to hit with his uncomfortable jab.
And again, two good jabs by Lewis. Now there's a looping right hand that misses big.
And in the end, the starting round went to Vitali. In the second round, Lennox Lewis missed a brutal right hand from Vitali Klitschko.
Back and just counter that jab one time.
Hard right hand landed by Klitschko.
This blow not only shook the head of the Briton, but also shook the pride of the champion, as it seemed that he was overwhelmed with emotions.
A straight's got a different
Left hand lands
of Klitschko.
And Klitschko trying.
Lennox with an open visor went forward and got involved in the wheelhouse, thus missing a lot of blows from the Ukrainian.
As Vitali goes out, but it may be too late.
I could tell off on Klitschko because
You can bet Emmanuel Stewart and there may be blood under the eye. Vitali Klitschko is roughing Lennox Lewis up as the second round begins to
Over the eyes.
In the third round, a key episode happened.
to the middle of the ring. As he goes after Klitschko,
Lennox Lewis hit Klitschko with his right hand, and as a result, Vitali opened a cut over his left eye.
That started the
someone is bleeding pretty good there.
Lennox Lewis under the left eye, and now Vitali bleeding by the left eye.
Even then, it became clear that the cut was very dangerous, but Vitali continued the fight as if nothing had happened.
A heavyweight championship.
Klitschko is hurt.
And he lands it.
Taking the hardest shot. Once you see an eye like that,
The sport in the eyes of many here.
The fourth round began with the fall of the boxers after the clinch.
Third with the good right hands. They fall down together.
Lennox Lewis, as if inspired by the cut of Vitali, went forward and acted as the aggressor.
I'm sorry, but the corner's got to take a good look at this guy.
But Klitschko, due to the jab, kept the opponent at a distance and bothered him with annoying punches from the front hand.
Klitschko, Lewis Vitali to the belly. Discouragement. Surely
The fifth round was clearly for the Ukrainian. Klitschko became more active and threw a lot of punches, but at the same time his eye looked worse and worse.
Vitali Klitschko, but his eye begins to drain blood again.
Lewis is there for him.
The start of the sixth round was again for the contender, but at the end of the first minute of the segment, Lennox struck the most severe uppercut from the right exactly on the opponent's chin.
Trying to take advantage through a blinded left eye. Oh, what an uppercut. This uppercut by Lewis.
Vitali somehow withstood this blow, which probably surprised Lewis, because it was one of the most powerful blows in his arsenal. Be that as it may, this hit reduced Klitschko's activity and Lewis took the end of the round with several dangerous attacks.
Having trouble with the pace.
That's right.
Oh, I can remember when 10 years ago.
In the break between rounds, the cut above Vitali's left eye looked really creepy. However, Vitali did not even think of refusing to continue the fight, but the referee intervened. After consulting with the doctor who served that fight, he actually stopped it. The victory was awarded to Lewis, as Vitali was injured as a result of an opponent's attack. And at this moment the most interesting will begin. Shocked by the stoppage and at the same time angry at such an outcome, Klitschko immediately stood up and began to shout, "Don't stop the fight." But it was too late.
Klitschko is very upset that they've stopped the fight, yelling no, no, no. He didn't want the fight stopped. Who stopped the fight?
Lewis rejoiced at this outcome and was already celebrating his victory, sighing and exhaling heavily. Klitschko did not find a place for himself. He then shouted, then understood the hand, then again shouted indignantly. Of course, sometimes even swear words came into play, but it can be understood. The younger one tried his best to calm his older brother, but he did not do it so well. And in one of the episodes, Vitali even almost started a fight there. The Ukrainian at one moment approached the Briton shouting only one phrase, "Revenge." When is the revenge? Lewis, on the other hand, remained silent and at one moment even turned away, which really pissed off the Ukrainian and he hit his opponent on the shoulder. Security immediately intervened and the fighters were dragged to the corners. And now let's listen to the interviews of the fighters, which they gave after this scandalous fight.
Could you see through the eye?
I see very well. I don't know why this doctor stopped the fight. I feel me very well. I can fight. I know. It's Lennox Lewis promised to knock me in 5 rounds. I know. Why you know? Because he don't have conditioned in 5 rounds.
How were you able to avoid his right hand? Could you see it that easily?
He never one time punched me very hard with right hand, because I saw every punch. He's good fighter. He make great fights. I know in this fight when doctor don't stop, I win this fight. I win this fight by point, you know. You can see my fight record. I can knock in first round. I can fight this last round and knock him in 11 or 12 rounds. I want rematch. When doctor stop the fight, I won't fight again. I show for everybody I can be Lewis.
Congratulations, Lennox. You said that he had no skill level and that he had no heart. What do you say now?
Well, you know, if the fight would have went more, they should have stopped.
No, the fight didn't go more. What happened in the 6 rounds? What is your impression of him now?
It's okay. What do you want me to say?
I want you to say what you say. Was it a harder fight than you anticipated?
No, not really. I was getting to him. There's no way he could have finished the fight. If you look at the state of his face, there's no way. He's lucky the fight was stopped. I was just getting to him, and he was just deteriorating anyway. So I don't know what you're talking about.
I'm just asking you for your impressions because you seem to dismiss him that he could even compete with you.
Well, yeah, of course he can compete with me. That's why he's here in the #1 position.
Well, I understand you were behind on all the judges' scorecards.
Listen, he would have got knocked out the next couple of rounds. It was just a matter of time. He was definitely deteriorating. So I don't even know what you're talking about.
Well, I'm telling you what the score is. Huh? I'm just telling you what the scoring of the officials was.
Oh, okay. So anyway, the referee's lucky he stopped the fight. Anyway, look at the state of his face.
But no matter what this impudent Briton said, Vitali actually beat Lennox to the point of a stop. Replaying it on points on cards for all judges 3 times with a score of 58-56. After the fight, Klitschko, of course, demanded a rematch, but the Briton quickly announced his retirement. After his departure, the WBC belt became vacant. As a result, it was played between Vitali Klitschko and Corey Sanders, in which the former will win a bright victory and finally win the long-awaited title. The Ukrainian boxer in the evening of 2003 did not manage to take away the WBC belt. But our today's hero did not leave that arena empty-handed, but with something much more important than belts and trophies. The Ukrainian has won the respect and love of the public, which, as a result, will root for him until the very end.